Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Monday, December 29, 2025. Christmas has passed and the new year is arriving soon. And I'm Abdul Majid Aman.
And I'm Wed Badawi. For today's headlines, a leaked memo showed that TikTok's new U.S. owners won't run core businesses a part of their U.S. operations. Manchester City owner City Football Group has completely divested from Mumbai City, and the crypto billionaire CZ was named the richest expat in the UAE by Forbes.
It's a very interesting day for news. There's no news actually, but we're trying to find a lot of news for you from here and there. But the first story of the day is a Business Insider scoop kind of a thing. TikTok's new US ownership structure will leave Abu Dhabi-based MGX without control over core commercial operations. And this is according to a leaked internal memo from Chief Executive Shao Chu obtained by Business Insider.
Now, under the proposed U.S. joint venture, MGX will join Oracle and Silver Lake as managing investors. The role will focus on data protection, algorithm security, and algorithm training rather than revenue-generating streams of the business.
And Shao Chu told staff that TikTok's global business, still controlled by ByteDance, will retain authority over advertising, marketing, and e-commerce. Advertisers will continue to connect with global audiences with no impact. That is what he wrote in the memo.
Now, this structure, many analysts have said, helps explain the lower $14 billion valuation that was cited by U.S. officials for this deal. Now, essentially, MGX, Oracle, and Silver Lake are expected to hold 45% of the U.S. venture, while ByteDance keeps broader operational control. Now, the deal, and this is very exciting, is reportedly set to close on January 22nd, 2026.
That's my birthday next year. But yeah, the agreement also highlights growing US UAE artificial intelligence ties. MGX, overseen by His Highness Sheikh Tanoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan, has invested across the AI ecosystem, including Intel's Altera unit, the Stargate AI fund with OpenAI and Oracle, and a $30 billion AI infrastructure fund led by BlackRock and global infrastructure partners.
I think that with this entire story, it's almost it's an interesting leak, because when they lead with it, they're basically telling us that these investors are not going to control the key business operations. But I feel like we were all privy to that. We know that. We know that they're not going to do that. The key fact of this story is the fact that the TikTok CEO, the TikTok US CEO himself, admits that they're here to control algorithm training. And I think it's almost confirming to people, a lot of people who argued against this deal, why they did not want it in the first place. What do you think about this, Majid?
I think the algorithm part is very important, because I think the whole contention is that, oh, they're telling the US users this and that. Basically, the idea was propaganda was being distributed among US users, and US wanted safety about that, oh, maybe they're putting up Chinese propaganda in their app, and people are like pro-Chinese now and pro-communist. That's the whole argument that they had. With algorithm training, it's becoming very simple that people in the US will only see content, obviously, when they start using TikTok after the changes. Whatever their preferences are, for example, someone likes food content, they will only get US food content, or like US creators who make food content. So their algorithm is, to be honest, going to be restricted a lot. That's what I think.
There will probably be like no pro-Palestinian content. I think
100% no.
There definitely will not be. I remember the Times, they released this like really interesting piece that basically showed that the Free Palestine hashtag was utilized much more so than, I think it was Free Israel, or just much more so generally than the Israeli hashtags. But I think with this entire story, something that even stands out more is how much we see Larry Ellison, the Oracle billionaire, circling around these UAE investors. And you know that this is not the first time. We recently saw it with the bid for Warner Bros. By Paramount. So essentially, sovereign wealth funds from the Middle East joined in with Paramount for their $108 billion bid.
Yeah.
And a part of those investors, it wasn't just Qatar Investment Authority, I believe it was also Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, but it was also this Abu Dhabi vehicle called Al Imad Holding. And Al Imad Holding, the way that it's actually related to MGX is that Al Imad Holding is fully owned by Abu Dhabi's government. And MGX is chaired by His Highness Sheikh Tahnoon. So I think the fact that we constantly see Larry Ellison and these UAE officials circling in the same deals, it's very telling in the sense of where we're going to see the future of technology head. Because obviously someone like Larry Ellison, he is leading the technology world. And I think that dealings with him are important.
Yeah, a very interesting opinion piece on Bloomberg, which said that not Elon Musk, but Larry Ellison was the most impactful person in terms of AI and everything in the world in 2025. So since the year is ending, they're doing year-end stories. But yeah, I think Larry Ellison was. Elon Musk, obviously, he's the richest man. He crossed 700 billion. Maybe he'll be the first trillionaire. I think the only impact he had in 2025 was the election part, where he was very closely attached to the whole campaign for Mr. Trump. And Mr. Trump became president. They were good friends, and then they started fighting, and then now they're like acquaintances, not great friends. But Larry Ellison, if you look at him, to be honest, his company made the best deals in 2025. Oracle is, I'll give you the basic example of how he controls everything, or how he was the man with the impact, because OpenAI, ChatGPT that we see, the very first launch that we saw in November 2023, it was backed by Oracle data centers. So all the data that ChatGPT was controlling was in Oracle data centers. So if there was no Oracle, we wouldn't have this whole idea of generative AI and then all the other ones jumping on the trend. So he was the main architect behind it, and now, even now, he's building so many. He's part of the Stargate project. We didn't see Elon Musk anywhere. It was SoftBank CEO.
Oh, and he got mad that he wasn't included.
Yeah.
I think it was the fact that he wasn't invited here when they even announced Stargate UAE. That was a pretty big story.
OpenAI, Sam
Remember
Altman was
that?
there.
That was crazy.
And Sam Altman was there because Stargate, the three core people who are behind it, apart from Mr. Trump announcing it, is SoftBank, Masayoshi Son, Oracle, Larry Ellison, and OpenAI, Sam Altman. It's a project by all three of them. Elon Musk was not anywhere near it, but Elon Musk somehow got a foothold in the UAE sovereign wealth. The infrastructure fund that we're talking about, the 30 billion one, with BlackRock, MGX in it, SoftBank is in that one also. Elon Musk was the latest addition to that infrastructure fund. So they're basically combining $30 billion and building data centers. That's the main idea of the infrastructure fund. So Elon Musk somehow got in. Then he recently was here in the UAE. We saw him. He's also part of building the Dubai Loop, which is a hyperloop concept, underground
by
roads.
The Boring Company.
Yeah, the Boring Company. 2026 mid, they said they'll start building the first Dubai Loop road and all that. So he somehow got into the Middle East.
He definitely got in.
With Tesla also. I think Saudi opened, the first store was opened this year. Kuwait, Qatar, he's going everywhere.
And I think
Tesla.
he has a very high chance of doing minister in the world, Umar al-Ulama, and I believe it was in when was it? I think it was in 2021 or 2023, and it was in fact right
Earlier
after
than
that,
I think.
Singapore actually followed and then appointed. You know, we can conclude after taking a look at Stargate UAE, all of these investments, all of these AI investments that they're making, and it's not just individuals from the government. It's also the billionaires in the UAE. Hussein Sedjwani committing $20 billion with Donald Trump to expand into US data centers. We can almost argue that they have a very artificial intelligence, approach. That's where they're going with the future. But in Saudi, I'm noticing something else. It's so sports. It is. Listen, their AI is great, and they have somehow managed to pave a very natural path due to the amount of land that they have, the amount of resources, the amount of capital. Yes, they have diversified, but they have oil. But I've noticed that they're courting the sports aspect. They're really trying to become a sports hub. And you notice it more and more when you listen to the PIF governor talk, Yasser Al-Rumayyan, and he's telling us about how golf is not as much of a big sport as it should be.
Yeah.
They're really going out of their way to make sure that every single sports industry in Saudi Arabia is standing out. And I just think that that difference, it's interesting.
It reminds me, yesterday, maybe there was the battle of sexist tennis match also.
Yes.
Sabalenka versus
And the Globe Soccer
Kyrgios.
Awards.
Yeah, and Globe Soccer Awards are today, and there's so much happening in the UAE about sports. But your point is right that they're very bullish. UAE is also bullish on sports. The next story is about them getting out of one club, but they already have City Football Group. But the idea is that they're not as bullish as Saudi Arabia. We've realized, like, both of them want like soft power in sports and entertainment. Both go hand in hand. Sports is entertainment at the end of the day. But Saudi Arabia, we see Riyadh season is becoming so big. Then you have them investing in, you were talking about golf. Live Golf is exactly what PGA Tour is. They're giving competition to it. Eventually, they will merge. When and where and how, that still needs to be carved out. But the idea is that they are doing great. The only problem I see with their investment ideas with Saudi Arabia and UAE, there is no problem. So it's too perfect. That's the idea I get. Because when we listen to Mubadala CEO Khaldun Al-Mubarak speak, when we see Yasir Al-Rumayyan speak, when we see any person from this area speak, they're too good. Their communication, their vision. Every time they talk about what they are planning for the next 10 years, what they've already done. They know everything. And it's too bad for the West, to be honest, because you listen to the Alex Karp, very famous clip of him. Apparently, supposedly, everyone was saying he was drunk on stage. Then you see Elon Musk going on and on about.
But he was something.
Yeah, he was something. Yeah, he was in a mood. Then you see Elon Musk going all out against media. We saw the
Just
Bloomberg
completely
thing.
crashing out on X,
He doesn't
like every
care,
single
right?
day.
So all of them are trying too hard, the Western leaders, but our leaders in this region, they're so calculated, so well versed. Talking about the father, we call, of startups and investment, Fadi Gandoor. He is so nice, well poised. Let's not talk about all the great guys. Let's talk about the lower. Hussam Arab, whenever I've heard him, he's so great. He's the founder of Tabi, one of the founders of Tabi. Any startup founder, even the newer ones, you look at them, they're so nicely poised. They're so well calculated.
I think it runs in Arab culture.
Yeah.
Majid. You know, we actually have a concept in Arab culture. What is the best way to explain this in English?
Very interestingly, I was talking about Fadi Gandoor, and I think he's joined the life.
He has?
Yeah.
But there's this concept in Arabic culture, Majid. And listen, I don't know about other Arab countries, but I have Arab friends, and I'm Sudanese, and we have something called fadiha.
Okay.
Fadiha means you're an embarrassment. And no, I mean it. And it's like the worst thing to be a fadiha. You can't walk around just saying whatever you want and crashing out on people and just going completely insane the way that people like Sean Maguire are.
Oh, yes.
You know, you can't just... because everyone has their own kind of biased claims that they can make. And we can say so many things about the Western world, but we don't really do it because it's not the prim and proper way to behave, I think.
Even when we talk about the West, we do it in terms of comparison. When we're talking about how the economic world is shifting, how capital is moving towards Middle East, we're not just the ones who's talking about it, right? Everyone is talking about it. And they're showing by action, any event that you go to, every big person is there. You talk about a media event, all the big media people, the Bridge Summit is full of people who are something in their own categories in media. You talk about, we have so many events coming up, Feb is STEP, Feb is LEAP.
This is about the UAE, about the Middle East. And in fact, I don't think it's targeted at the pieces that they write, because I think that semaphore is extremely balanced. There's both positive and negative pieces. So it's almost like these Western journalists are targeting them because they're even covering the region. And so it makes you think of, this is the role that us, the media, the news has to play when we cover these successful stories in the region, is that, the more that you cover these stories, the more that you're making people, Western people and living in their own bubble, realize the potential of the Middle East. And that's why so many people are coming here. Yeah. There's a wealth exodus that's happening in Europe, in America. All our millionaires, our billionaires are leaving. And it's because of the content that we're releasing. Yeah. They're finding out.
Yeah, finally they're finding out that this is not a dictatorship as said by the Perplexity, not Perplexity, Claude head. It's not the kind of environment where you're suffocated. There's no healthcare, there's no roads, everything is broken. Everything works here. All the systems work here. You follow the law. The follower respects you. You don't follow the law. The law doesn't respect you. It's equal for all. I break a signal. Anyone else breaks a signal. It's the same thing. They have systems which are in place which work, and I think the West is just scared. And some of the people who don't want to leave those countries and don't want to move here, for whatever reasons, they just don't want this region to be highlighted as the winner of the next 2-3 decades. People will want to come here. Whenever people come here, the first time they come here, they are like just crazed out. I remember one of the stories. That was the point where I realized that this region is doing something. I was in the metro. I met a Polish family, so father, daughter, and mother, 3 family. So I was sitting in the priority seating, right? Every box in the metro has priority seating. And when I came on the metro, it was empty, so I sat down. Parents were old. As soon as they entered the metro, I stood up and I gave the seat. But with me, there was an old lady sitting, so there was only one seat available, right? So both of the husband and wife, they started fighting. No, you sit. No, you sit. And then I was like, yeah, you can take turns, no problem. And then I started talking to their daughter and uncle and auntie, and all of them were so amazed by Dubai. It was their first time ever in Dubai. And the very first thing the daughter told me was, oh, my mom was so scared of coming here. I was like, why? She's like, oh, she reads a lot of newspaper and watches a lot of TV. So she was like, oh, there's slavery and we'll see slaves and it's only desert and this and that. Yeah, those were the 2 points, like slavery and deserts. And I was like, okay, no, did you find anything apart? She's amazed like how well developed this city is. So that's like the common phenomena in the West. People don't know about it.
You know what I think this is, Majid? I think like it was over the weekend where everyone was just completely shocked that her name's Zara Larsson. I only ever remember her music. But basically her parents live in Bahrain. Wow. And she went to celebrate Christmas there with them. Oh, yeah. And the internet was completely shocked.
That they're celebrating Christmas.
and then we also found out that Tate McRae basically at some point grew up in Oman.
Nice.
And it was just a shocker for people. Like, what do you mean they grew up in the Middle East? Like, it doesn't make any sense to them. But moving on to the next story of the day, City Football Group has completely divested from Mumbai City FC, citing ongoing uncertainty surrounding the future of the Indian Super League after the league's master rights agreement expired, leaving the upcoming season in limbo, which is completely unfortunate for the Indian players.
Yes, and the City Football Group, which acquired a controlling stake in Mumbai City in 2019, said the decision followed a comprehensive commercial review. During its tenure, the club won 2 ISL leagues, Indian Super League Shields, 2 ISL Cups, Indian Super League Cups, and qualified twice for AFC Champions League.
Indian domestic football has been thrown into uncertainty after the organizer Football Sports Development Limited informed the All India Football Federation in July that the league would remain on hold.
And the pause stems from a lack of clarity over renewing the 15-year master rights agreement, which expired on December 8. The situation has raised concern among clubs, broadcasters, sponsors, and investors across the Indian football ecosystem.
Now, City Football Group remains owner of 11 clubs globally, including Manchester City. Now, the group is majority owned by His Highness Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Nahyan's Newton investment, with nearly 17% held by U.S. technology investor Silver Lake.
I don't know why Silver Lake pops up
They're just everywhere.
right?
I think they were also in the deal.
The TikTok deal they're in.
Not just that, the deal with Jared Kushner and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund.
Yeah, EA.
Yeah,
EA,
they were
the
there
takeover
too.
for EA, Silver Lake is there. They're becoming so big, but still, it's very interesting that whenever we talk about these funds or anything, it's usually the people's name. This time with Silver Lake, we don't really see their founders like very highlighted. It's always Silver Lake that's highlighted. Like Andreessen Horowitz, it's two founders' names, right? YC Combinator, the one we always talk about, very supportive of Palestine, the founder.
Paul Graham.
Yeah, he is very vocal on social media, but Silver Lake is very interesting. So it's a BlackRock, we know Larry Fink. So we always have a name to attach to something. Silver Lake, we don't. Even if the guy is very famous, we never see his face or him in the pictures here in the Middle East. But they're investing everywhere, right?
They really are. But just back to the story, if we,
Yeah.
if we take a look at Mumbai City and the kind of success that they've achieved under City Football Group and the injected capital from the UAE, from Abu Dhabi, they have actually reached new heights during their time with City Football Group, winning 2 ISL League Winners' Shields and 2 ISL Cup titles. So you can clearly see that ownership structure there.
Yeah.
It did make the difference, but I think with foreign ownership, we're seeing that it is something difficult to tackle. In their case, I think that their reason is very valid.
Yeah.
I honestly, what's going on with Indian football is just completely unacceptable, and it's so unfortunate for so many players' dreams there. I know that a lot of people want to see that one Indian football player that like becomes completely famous. I think we've seen the process happen with Egypt. With Omar Marmoush, and we've seen it happen with Mo Salah. We've seen it happen with a lot of players in these countries, but we still haven't seen it with Indians. And hopefully,
Asian football is very complicated.
I honestly imagine it's my dream to see it, that they have that one player that just makes it to like Ronaldo level. But
Asian football is problematic. I've seen it very close in Pakistan also. Pakistan Football Federation got banned like 3 times when I was working as a journalist there. And in the meantime, India was starting all these leagues. And Indian Super League, the football league, is not just one league that they started. They started a Kabaddi league. It's a very Asian sports that we play. They also started a small 6-on-6 football league. It's a futsal league. Ryan Giggs came. Some of the biggest names in the world at that time came. What India was doing, what Saudi is right now doing, they are investing in sports and growing those IPs, right? India was building their own local leagues. So there was a point they started the International Tennis Tour something where Roger Federer played alongside Sania Mirza. So it was a 4 venue event which started in Spain and then I think went to some place and then some place, and the finals would happen in India. And it was such a nice exhibition tournament. They stopped that. Indian Futsal League, they stopped that. Kabaddi League is nowhere. The sponsors are running away. Indian Super League. The whole idea was built that we have 1.2 billion people and we'll market those eyeballs basically, and advertisers would love it.
How can they not renew it, Majid? Like, how can
They
it just...
will. It's just there comes a point for any tournament. It's even like with football World Cups, right? There are such big extravaganzas. Even then, FIFA is trying to do it every 2 years because the earnings from the World Cups is not as high. Obviously, when you look at figures year on year, like for example, the 2026 one is happening. But before that, 2022 was Qatar. So after every 4 years, when you see the numbers, on paper they will look big. For example, the last World Cup they made $20 billion, just to give you an example. This year they'll make $30 billion. But when you put in everything and the depreciation of value of the currency and the organizing cost and everything, they actually earn less every year. So the problem is they want to do it 2 years, every 2 years, the World Cup. That's what the discussion is. Arsene Wenger, the former manager of Arsenal, he is in that committee where he's opposed to it. He's on the side of opposition. He's like, no, it should be 4 years. But they're doing it. So globally, if you look at it, sports, they are making a lot of money, but it's been divided into so many things. I'll give you 2-3 examples. Football, we have the Champions League, one of the biggest tournaments, biggest clubs from Europe, across the world. They play and try to win one trophy. Then you have separate leagues who are already. So one sponsor, for example, Adidas, Puma, Nike, the big athlete ones, they will spend maximum on 1, 2, or 3 tournaments, right? Or they'll spend with one team. Now, if you have 15 events, not everyone will have Adidas, right? So the capital pool is the same, nearly the same, but there's so many tournaments happening. So there's not enough money to be made by one single event. There was only one World
Right.
Cup, some leagues, and Champions League. So these three were the biggest earners. They would get all the money, right? But now you have so many small things happening that the sponsor has the chance to distribute that capital. So now the bigger events, they're not getting as much money. They are getting bigger. Obviously, now they're going for streaming rights. We saw the boxing match on Netflix. So they're somehow finding a new capital from somewhere.
But you
so
know what
it's very complicated. Sports are suffering, to be honest. Some may disagree. Some may say, oh, no, on paper, they're making more money. But distribution-wise, they are finding new ways to earn money. And that is why we see them
They
going to
are.
Netflix.
And that's
NFL
why we
is
see
on
them going
foot.
to Themania. So
Yeah.
we basically saw how the podcast company Themania basically won the streaming rights for Saudi League football, which was such a grand move for a company that releases some of the best podcasts in the world, the most famous podcast episode in the world. But what I wanted to specifically also touch on, Majid, was that guy Ben Harburg, I believe his name
Ben
is.
Harburg.
He is the first. He is the first businessman to own a Saudi club. First foreign businessman to own a Saudi football club, and it was Al Khulud. And just on that point that you said about these football clubs making money, I think that to make that money, I don't just think it's about winning these different contracts, but also knowing when you have to step back from certain
most
contracts. And,
partnership,
we saw that over the weekend, where basically right before Al Khulud were meant to play a game, they posted this sponsorship that they were set to have with Muz. And Muz is the Muslim dating app. And if you obviously taking into consideration the cultural context of Saudi Arabia, that is not a kind of sponsorship that the fans or even Saudi citizens are going to accept. And honestly, even me as a fellow Muslim, I did not see the validity of this sponsorship at all. And immediately, Ben Harburg, he saw the backlash, he saw the fan uproar, and he was like, that's it, we're canceling this. In fact, within hours, this man went on X and was like, hey guys, we noticed this does not match the cultural values of Saudi Arabia. We, in fact, didn't even sign the contract yet, and we dropped it completely. And I think that's so important, because imagine if he had actually went ahead with it on that basis of, we need the money, this is really important for us. They probably would have lost a lot of fans.
And he could have done it. Business decision-wise, it was a nice business decision. He could have taken money and put it on their jerseys. The good thing is that, again, as we talk about it, recently we've started talking a lot about it, the business ethics and obviously cultural nuisance. You understand, no, this will not work here. It's very common in sports, to be honest. I would give you a cricket example because I've, again, lived in Pakistan. There's a Muslim South African player, Hashim Amla. So South African team had alcohol company logo on their shirt, and they paid a lot of money. So what he would do is he'll put a black sticker on it and play the matches. He was such a good player that the team allowed him to do that. But he took a pay cut for every match. So they're paid by match and monthly salaries and then yearly contracts as well. He took a pay cut. He was like, I'm not telling anyone else to do it, but I will do it. I'll put a black tape because I, as a Muslim, can't support this alcohol brand. So I'll put a black tape on it, and I'll take the pay cut. So the sponsor doesn't get angry, the team doesn't get angry. So there's so many ways of doing it, and South African cricket allowed it. That's the good thing. See, so they understood the cultural concept. When South Africa won any trophies, so they have champagne celebrations, they would do the champagne celebration, and then Hashim Amla would join them, and then they'll open a non-alcoholic champagne with him. So the players were a part of it, the team. You have to understand that. I think Mo Salah also, the Liverpool celebration, Mo Salah stands out. As soon as the champagne thing is done, then he comes in. Or he starts with it and then he moves away and then the champagne's
I think having something to stand
Yeah.
for, it's so important.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why Arsenal right now is
Yeah.
under so much backlash. So basically, recently, and they announced it very publicly. You can find it on their press releases, on their website,
Yeah.
where basically they partnered with this company, Deal. I believe it's this
HR management startup.
yeah, it's this HR firm. They partnered with them, and Deal is Israeli founded. So the founder himself has, he used to run a VC, I believe, in Tel Aviv in Israel. And they also came under this court case from this Irish rival called Rippling that
Yeah.
basically allegedly accused Deal of corporate espionage, of planting someone in their company to reportedly see their processes.
Yeah.
And you know, when you take a look at a story like this, I believe Deal is valued at $17 billion.
Yeah.
You know, in the books, in the accounting books, this is a great partnership for Arsenal.
Yeah.
But you know, can this perhaps destroy the kind of legacy that they've built, and you know, maybe off-put a lot of fans?
Yeah. There's very funny part about Arsenal that the people who love Arsenal, they're crazy about Arsenal, and everyone else hates them. So Piers Morgan is an Arsenal fan, and funnily, Emirates is a sponsor also. Emirates is like the title sponsor. I think
I
the
know
stadium
that.
is called. Yeah. So there's a lot of things. People who love Arsenal, they love Arsenal. They're crazy about it. So deal or no deal, they will still love the club. And the haters, they have one new reason to hate them. So Arsenal is a very conflicted club throughout history. I don't think they will mind it as long as they're getting the money. There's not only Arsenal, there's a lot of clubs who have logos and other things from different places. There's a very conservative group in the footballing circles in the like English Premier League. They're all against betting, but we see so many betting companies on English football jerseys. Betting is legal in England. I don't know about the other leagues. I've mostly followed Premier League throughout my life. I think there will be a group in Italy also who are against betting and they don't want the jerseys. I think it's a very subjective thing if you're against it or not.
No, it
Arsenal
definitely is.
should have thought about it in the recent context. I don't think whoever made the decision or signed the papers and found deal, they made that connection. Maybe with the backlash they will. You can't walk out of these contracts. They're very big contracts. Even the walking out fees is in millions. So I think they will go through with it.
And
But
this
there is backlash.
and this is why, Majid, I'm just honestly happy
Yeah.
that you know we're starting to get leagues here in the Middle East that you know are hopefully over the future going to become more strong. That you know foreign players, it becomes their dream to play there, and it becomes the dream of many you know young men here to play in these teams. I think
Yeah.
that's important. To have teams that won't accept most sponsorships,
Yeah.
and you know the future of sports sponsorships
Yes.
is definitely going to change.
And the last story of the day is very simple and plain. Chang Peng Zhao, CZ, very famously known, has been named the UAE's richest expatriate by Forbes with an estimated net worth of $78.8 billion. He's a crypto billionaire, to be honest, underscoring the country's growing appeal to global crypto and technology billionaires.
Now, the Binance co-founder said Dubai hosted only a handful of crypto companies when he arrived in 2021. He noted that the ecosystem has since expanded into thousands of firms, positioning the UAE as a global hub for digital assets.
And that growth has been reinforced by sovereign capital. Abu Dhabi-backed MGX, which recently acquired a 15% stake in TikTok, as we discussed in the first story, also invested $2 billion in Binance, signaling strong institutional support for the sector.
Other Forbes listed billionaires based in the UAE included Nick Stronsky, chief executive of Revolut, who relocated after securing a local operating license, and Pavel Durov, the founder of Telegram.
And Durov later became an Emirati citizen, highlighting how regulatory clarity, capital backing, and lifestyle advantages are helping the UAE attract and retain some of the world's most influential technology entrepreneurs. There's a semaphore listicle about the expats who've been granted citizenship. Pavel is very openly a citizen. He has the passport. But there is, like, reportedly news that CZ also has a passport. There's no official announcements of it. There is no official data of it. But semaphore lists CZ as one of UAE citizens also with a passport. So no one knows. Semaphore only says that. I'm just telling you because these are the expats who've come here. There was a long list, I think, but there were a lot of Indians in it. Have you seen the list, total list? Something Menon was there. He's into construction. So, but CZ leads. I think there was a time when Pavel Durov was the richest man in UAE. Now he's in fourth number.
I believe
he
so.
Was on
he's
the fourth number,
richest expat.
Nick Storonsky, most probably we'll start covering him more when he moves here. We haven't seen him move here, like in videos or pictures or any news, but most probably he'll move here because they have a license now and they're going to start their operations. And the biggest business part of Revolut, what I've seen, even in the UK part, is sending money abroad to people. It's very famous for sending money because the exchange rate is very nice. It's like nearly one half of the original that the banks charge. That is why it's become such a giant, and they recently valued at $75 billion. It's more than like 3 or 4 banks combined in London. So as soon as he moves here, we'll see them. And I think there's a very big market from UAE where people send money to their countries. I send everyone who's here from Pakistan, Sudan, India. We have like 120
but you know
plus
what?
nationalities.
PayPal is also really easy to use. Are you joking?
Like the exchange rate is very good?
It is. It's
Nice.
amazing. It's great.
Yeah.
But we're also going to see Lakshmi Mittal, John Frederickson. So there's a lot to come. And we're also seeing people get citizenships in Saudi Arabia. But that's a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all our social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
This has been a Smashi Business Show, Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our more than 2 million monthly listeners across all platforms and the production team behind the screens who makes this possible. Thank you, Kirby. He's back from his holidays. Thank you so much. I hope you had fun. Thanks a lot, everyone else. We'll see you tomorrow on Tuesday. Bye-bye.